Welcome back, everybody. Rudy with 2020 Investments. Finally just got a haircut here, and I thought, due to the amount of people wanting to kind of discuss this topic about this, Rudy, can you explain this whole golden age of magic boxes and the silver age and this bronze age? I heard some conversation at my LGS, which is in the third floor basement next to the Amazon warehouse, and they told me the bronze age of magic just ended. Can you explain that to me? Or maybe explain to us why your hair looks ridiculous? I said, look, my hair doesn't look ridiculous. I spend 4 hours a day styling my hair. So we're going to break it down, everybody. So welcome in. Obviously, my name is Creepy Rudy from the Alpha Investment Basement industry. And let me give you guys a timeline here. So obviously, Magic came out in 1993. There's this kind of this slang term that we throw around. A lot of the stores and distributors, they kind of call from 93 to the end of the booster boxes that were made with reserve list cards in them. That was considered kind of the golden age of sealed boxes of Magic. That was kind of where that term came from. So boxes that contain reserve list cards from the 90s. What did that end after? Urza's? Maybe, what was the last set to contain reserve list cards? The Urza's? Or is it Mercadian Masks? Somewhere around that time in the late 90s. That marked the end of the golden age of Magic boxes. There was never going to be a new box produced with reserve list cards inside the box. So that was a really big deal. That was really, truly a game changer, honestly, everybody. So after that, we moved into the silver age of booster boxes, which would probably be, let's just call it from 2000 to probably about 2011, 2010. It was a very long era. So the 90s was probably about, what do you guys think, 7 years long? The silver age of Magic boxes is kind of considered from about 2000 to about 2010, 2011, about 10 to 11 years long. This term came from where you could get good sealed boxes, but the print runs were not, as they called, every quarter. They didn't reevaluate to do a second print run. Magic was never operated that way with Carta Monday. It was kind of a set amount of product, and the set came and went. This was kind of deemed the silver age of boxes because the supply across the board, no matter how good or bad the set was, from this 10, 11 year period, the supply was always tight, giggity. There was never a time where you could throw a hot dog down a hallway. It just didn't work that way. There was always the demand was always there, and it was a good time. So then the infamous, probably the most famous time of all in Magic's history is probably around that 2011 time when we hit the infamous Return to Ravnica Gate Crash Dragon's Maze block, where Wizards announced it, or they didn't. Did they even announce it publicly? I don't think they did. Where Wizards changed the print run. I can feel my hair moving. Isn't that crazy? So where Wizards changed... Oh, that's going to be a meme. Where Wizards changed the quantity of product produced for each set. They created a system where every so many months they would reevaluate their inventory. And if the set was still doing good, they would order a lot more of them. And that pretty much put an end to the silver age of sealed Magic investing and brought on the bronze age. Now, the Bronze Age of Magic investing is kind of something that, how should I say this, everybody, became the most negative era. This was the era that most people made fun of, ridiculed, and most people just started walking away because of the supply. Then that's when the term print to demand and printed into oblivion really became very popular because of the change. And of course, the first time they did this with Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash, those two particular sets, they overdid the supply so drastically, it stunted the growth even to 2020. You can see the box prices are what, maybe 100, 120 a box? They're still very low for a product that's approaching 10 years old. It's very terrible. You're looking at like, what, a 1% return a year? It's garbage. It's terrible. But Dragon's Maze, ironically, is the least produced set out of Gatecrash and RTR, that block. Because Dragon's Maze did so poorly, they actually cut the print run off early. Similar to... what was the other one they did that with? They did it with the core set. Crap, what was that? Was it Born of the Gods? One of the other set, there was another set, they actually cut it early because it just didn't do good. So, as we marched into this Bronze Age past 2011, that was where really the online social media, and of course, past about 2015, is when the YouTube Magic kind of scene really started to become a big deal. I spent many years watching YouTube and other Magic channels before, I watched all the big ones and everything before I even started mine. And my frustration was always there was no one talking about the finance side. And the few people that I could find online were just, the information was terrible. It's like they didn't know what was going on. Maybe they were just making it up. They were trying to be like me. I don't know. And I was just very frustrated that I couldn't find a lot of information in 2015 range about the actual investment product side of Magic, whether it's sealed or reserve list. And that was what dawned. I said, dude, I thought it was a huge void in the marketplace. So I became first to market, and I went all in 2016 to create this channel. But during this time period of 2011 to 2019, or I guess 2020, yeah, 2020, I guess, because at the end of, no, it was 2019. 2019 marked the end of the Bronze Era. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We didn't really, there's been some talk and chatter about this, but I wanted to make a real video so everybody was informed of what this actually means. What actually ended the Bronze Era wasn't actually the overprinting of the Magic products. It was the shift of Wizards' behavior to a new flashy style product. It was like this new, they went from making a new set that we're excited about to every 30 days, bam, 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 just new products in 14 different variants and flashy products. So, for those of you still watching, War of the Spark was the last one. Now let me explain to you all what that means. I know most people aren't watching because we're past 3 minutes according to the YouTube algorithm. War of the Spark is an extremely special product. It is literally, it's out of print. I can't call a distributor and say, hey, order a pallet of War of the Spark. Wizards doesn't, you can't even order it from WotC. The warehouse is gone. The few boxes that are left at a few distributors, they won't even sell it to you unless you pay a higher price. And the whole thing has changed. But let me explain something. Once collector's boxes showed up with Throne of Eldraine, I didn't realize it at the time. And that's usually how life works. You never really understand, and you don't really see or feel the change in the moment. But you always look back and you go, wow, that was the turning point. That was the change, everybody. And that's what happened. When Throne of Eldraine came out, I mean, I thought the collector boxes were beautiful. They were crazy. I was upset because remember the clump zone? They were traceable or mappable because the box toppers were always clumped together. You would only get 4 showcase or box topper per box, I think it was. And they'd usually be clumped together or 2 and 2. It was a pain in the butt. But the point was, that was the shift. But we didn't know it until 2020. And then it's kind of funny now because people are asking, Rudy, they stopped the core set. So is Core 21 the only core set that can have a collector box? Or, I'm sorry, Core 20. Or is it 21? No, I'm sorry, Core 21. Is Core 21 the only core set with a collector box? As of right now, it might be. And if that's the case, now you're talking a really weird scenario there. But I wanted to focus on this whole scenario. Because again, we went about 7 years of the golden age of sealed boxes, which had reserve lists, very limited, the top tier cards. Then the silver age was like this from 2000 to 2010, 2000. There was like this 10, 11 year window with all these sets that people did. Nobody realized how amazing the opportunity was until recently in all these products. And then, because once the Bronze Age, or some people are calling it the Pioneer Age, rolled over, where everything RTR forward, the Pioneer Age took over, people realized, holy crap, now Pioneer, this era of Bronze Era boxes, or Pioneer Era boxes, are actually not as garbage fire as we thought. And that led to, call it as skyrocketing to 300, the Aman Kets, the Eldritch Moons, the actual Battle for Zendikar. You're already seeing the market readjust the prices on its own. And that's natural kind of market aging. That's just how it works. But the million-dollar question is, what happens now with 2024? We already know it's kind of like comic books. It's kind of how they named the Bronze Age, Silver, the Golden Age of comic books. And with the print runs and the value and the rarities and the quality of the comic books. It was very interesting. And now I don't think this new age, everything's just dead. And I think that's a huge fallacy that's going to lead a lot of people to missing out. Everybody says, Rudy, it's just too much. It's just too much. You've got, what's the new thing? Ikoria? No, let's go with, what's the newest set? Technically, Zendikar's not out yet. So I guess let's just stick with the core set maybe. The core set 21, you've got the fat packs, you got the collector boxes, now you got all these different variants inside. There's just too many. We can't enjoy it. There's too many variants, showcase and full art and foiled non, box out. It's just too much. And I just think a lot of people are going to miss out because the negativity is so high, honestly. Just because the era of product is changing doesn't mean that it's game over. And that's something that everybody went through in 2011 when we shifted over to the print to oblivion mindset. And something always happens, and we can't predict the future. We don't know how the world's going to evolve. But you have to be prepared. You cannot just say, it's too much, I'm done. But at the same time, you cannot discount Core 2020 and War of the Spark because they were the last of that era. Guess what? If you want War of the Spark, how do you get the product? There's one item. There's a War of the Spark booster box. There's nothing else. There's no collector boxes. There's no, I mean, you see my point? So, I want people to, I just mostly understand what this means. Because I don't think most people understand how big of a shift this is. This change only happens like once every almost 5 to 10 years. Actually, almost about 10 years nowadays. So the fact that this change just happened with these flashy new products, chances are we're not going to see any other change for probably till like 2026, 2028 range minimum. It's going to be a long time, everyone. So, but my final thought is I don't think people are realizing how valuable a lot of that Bronze Age product is. Some people are, but most people are not. And at the same time, just because things have changed into this flashier new variant era, we don't know a name yet, just a flashy card era, the 14 different, I don't know, you guys can come up with a name if whatever you want, hashtag whatever the new era is called, I don't know. But don't downplay and just say, don't act like the same thing that everybody did in 2011 where they said the same thing. It's done. It's all worthless. Don't do that. Because let me tell you something. One of the biggest differences from 2020 to the 2010, 2011 time frame with RTR and Gatecrash and Dragon's Maze is, yeah, there's a lot of variants and there's a lot of product. But here's the kicker. The supply of the product today is more tightly controlled than the product supply of Return to Ravnica Gatecrash where they overdid it. That's the biggest difference. There's more different types of products, but the quantity of each category of product is still pretty tight. And that's kind of a more important variable than actually just the raw number. And the fact that it's almost impossible for everybody to keep up and have positions or invest or collect in every product. It's almost impossible. Let's not sugarcoat it. There's so much. I mean, I can't even keep up with spoiler seasons, what's going on, the pre-orders, I can't even keep up with it. It's ridiculous. So because of that, that's also going to be a very bullish indicator for people who do still stay the course. And I don't think most people are staying the course because it's just too much. And the emotional side, the lash out side, and the frustration towards Wizards is very strong. And now for the icing on the cake, you layer on top of that the Secret Lair, which is the first time ever in Wizards history since the 93? How long has Magic's been around now? 27, 28, 27 years? In almost 30 years, Wizards has never made a product with a couple cards and literally sold direct single cards to the market. They've never done that. So a lot of people point to that as icing on the cake of why they're walking away. And I can't downplay that mindset. I can't really defend and say, no, you're wrong. I get it. I do. And it's tough for me to disagree with that. But at the same time, do not underestimate what these things are going to do. I'm telling you all. I've heard this same song and dance for so long. So many people have said these same things. I will never forget, even in 2012, 2013, 2014 with Khans of Tarkir. I remember the very first video that made me famous on YouTube about Khans of Tarkir, all about the fetch and the fetch lands. In 2020, people are still obsessed with the fetch lands. It's been 6 years. I've been on YouTube for over almost 5 years. Nothing has changed. You see my point? If anything, Wizards is more stingy and tight on the fetch lands because you can't get them in cheap regular boxes anymore. But people said the same thing. 5 years ago, I was ridiculed, threatened, and attacked for the same thing, saying keep sealed boxes of Khans, keep sealed boxes of Battle for Zendikar. And the amount of ridicule was extremely high. And I'm reminding you all of this because here we are 5-6 years later. And everything has changed, but nothing has changed. And it's exactly the same. 4 years ago, my hair still looked ridiculous from not getting a haircut. It still looks ridiculous. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Remember that. The only thing that's certain is uncertainty. And you cannot predict the future no matter what kind of guru on the internet and get-rich-quick scheme you want to be a part of. It doesn't work that way. There are no shortcuts in life, and you just need to understand the patience and longevity of how to really build wealth and save money. There's no secret. I can't sell you on some $1,000 a month program to get you rich. It just doesn't work that way. You need to think and just be patient and don't take shortcuts. And I want people to know that this era is no different than 10 years ago, and it's no different than 20 years ago. Yes, the variables have moved around, but the core components of Magic is on fire. The market's absorbing the amount of product. I mean, it is what it is. I haven't seen a single distributor put clearance of Magic products, mark things down, or do anything in years. Things run out, they go out of print, that's it. It's been that way for the last 10 sets. And I don't think it's going to change. And now, if that does change, I will be the first one to report and tell people that, hey, Ikoria has been out of print for 2 years. I can still get boxes for $78 a box. And there's still pallets of them. I'll be the first to do it because then I'll make a deal to sell it. I'll put it online. I'll sell the boxes, even if I can make $1 a box. But that, you see my point? And it's just not real like that, though. And, I think a lot of people are just very blinded by the emotion, the frustration, the anger, and then you sprinkle on 2020 with everything going on. I mean, I get it. It makes sense, but a lot of people are going to have a lot of regrets skipping sets and products. The amount of messages I get, even to this day, of people just saying, hey, Rudy, I didn't buy Battle for Zendikar from you for $79. Rudy, I didn't buy Call of Dash for $79. Rudy, I'm one of your original patrons. I didn't buy Eldritch Moon for $79. Rudy, I remember Modern Masters 2017. You're selling for $149 and $199. I didn't even buy them. It's over and over and over. And these are just random examples. I mean, what's the worst one? What was Amonkhet? Ixalan? Nobody would buy that stuff when it came out. It was the least selling standard product I ever had in the 4 or 5 years on Patreon and YouTube. Nobody bought it. And here we are. What's the worst product now? Theros? And it's still selling good. Anybody seen the price of Theros collector boxes? Bottomed out at what, 160, 170 plus tax, so 180? And now the cheapest, now they're back up on eBay, 180 to 200 plus tax? I mean, it's just, and that's what, the worst one? But is it really that bad? I mean, honestly. So, that's all I have. I mostly just wanted to explain everybody the mindset. I want to have a longer conversation about this era of Magic, these sealed boxes over time, and how the emotion really blinds everybody. And I really don't think everybody should be really so fixated and making decisions based on how we feel and emotion, because that always leads to bad investment decisions. Whether you're trading equities, whether you're trading debt, whether you're trading derivatives or collectibles, you need to be very strategic without emotion and very straight and level-headed. And that's very important because you get blurred by these things, and that's dangerous. So, hope you guys learned something. Be safe. Remember, if you're to the point where you don't enjoy Magic, you're burnt out, then it's just not for you. You need to take a step back. You need to reset, and because if you don't enjoy it, it's not worth it. You shouldn't be doing this unless you truly enjoy it. I still enjoy it, so I'm staying the course. Have a great day, everybody. Eat lots of tacos.